So there's a big tornado. What happens? People blame climate change. It's too warm and dry in the summer. People blame climate change. It's too wet in the summer. People blame climate change. In Alberta in January, a warm wind that sweeps over the prairies, a Chinook. People blame climate change. Just ask Leonardo DiCaprio about that. Climate change seems to get blamed for almost every big weather event these days, including the Fort McMurray wildfire. But a University of Albany weather scientist, Paul Roundy, says if you want to look for the meteorological phenomenon that caused Fort McMurray, it's not climate change, it's El Niño. El Niño is an event that happens every 2 to 7 years, causes warmer, drier weather often in Alberta. And this El Niño was one of the biggest we have ever seen. 200 years of looking at it in recorded history, this could be the biggest El Niño. Here's what Roundy says, and I'll just read it. This year's El Niño event in particular spent most of its lifetime in between the central and east Pacific El Niño extremes, favoring a ridge over the Canadian Rockies and Alberta, an ideal scenario for a low snowpack and warm, dry conditions in the spring. The conclusion? Climate change is unlikely to explain the specific timing of this event in April to May. Instead, natural variability associated with an extreme El Niño event likely enhanced the dry, warm conditions that generated the extreme fire. Roundy is a climate scientist. He believes in climate change. He thinks we need to take action. He also thinks, though, that we need to have honest talk. He's worried that if every single weather event gets attached to climate change, when it could be related to something else, not related to climate change at all, that people are going to start to be skeptical about climate change talk, and certainly skeptical of the environmentalists and politicians who push climate change action. He doesn't want people to throw out the baby with the bathwater. He wants an honest discussion on climate change, which includes information like that.